Let's take a look at Memphis from the map. Today on our video, we're going to be looking at Memphis from the Google Maps to show you all around the city, show you where the major streets are, the shopping, schools, suburbs, all those elements of Memphis that you're interested in so that you can make the best decision on where you want to live when you are moving to Memphis and living in Memphis. Let's jump into my computer screen and go straight to the Google Maps. Memphis is in Shelby County. You can see here on the map that I've outlined Shelby County in blue and Memphis is outlined in red. So that you can see Memphis takes up probably about half of the land in Shelby County. It is in West Tennessee, Southwest Tennessee, right on the Mississippi River. Let's zoom out a little bit and you can take a look at how Memphis fits in the rest of the country. So here we see Memphis as it relates to the rest of the country. We are about 6 hours from Dallas, about 3.5, 4 hours to Atlanta, about 3 to 4 hours to St. Louis. Nashville's 3 hours away. New Orleans is about 5 hours away. If you are driving to Orlando, you're going to take about 12 hours to drive to Orlando. But this kind of gives you an idea of where Memphis is as it relates to the rest of the country. So let's zoom back in now and start exploring some of these Memphis streets to get your way around town. You can see here the interstate systems that we have. We have I-55 that runs from New Orleans, comes up through Jackson, Mississippi, comes into Memphis, goes over into Arkansas, heads up to St. Louis, and then beyond. I-40 begins in North Carolina. That's what this state is. Comes across Tennessee, Knoxville, Nashville, into Memphis, into Little Rock, continues going west out of Arkansas to Oklahoma City. Then we also have I-20, and I-20 doesn't come to Memphis. However, I-20 does come from, it's west of Dallas, Fort Worth, comes through and comes into Little Rock. So you can get to I-20 in about 2.5 hours from Memphis if you're heading west, whether you go I-20 or I-40. These are those major interstates that come through here. Now, if you zoom in a little bit more here, Memphis has the I-40 around Memphis, comes into Memphis through Arlington, Lakeland, touches Germantown, comes into Memphis, but I-40 dead ends right here because of the Memphis Zoo. The Memphis Zoo is here. There were plans, have been discussed multiple times, and finally decided that it's just never going to happen. And that's to connect I-40 all the way through Memphis, but it stops and dead ends at the Memphis Zoo. And when you come into Memphis, I-40 continues on this north loop around Memphis and across the Mississippi River. There is a loop that goes around to the south, and we call that I-240. Typically in your major cities where the interstate runs all the way through, the entire loop is called 240. Technically, the northern part is I-40. The southern part is 240. However, we tend to just say 240. I-40 comes into Memphis, 240 goes around Memphis. That's typically what we talk about. Now, you might, if you're dealing with traffic, trying to drive somewhere, you're going to want to pay attention to the traffic reports on the radio when they're talking about I-240 and I-40. They will be talking about this northern leg of the loop. That's technically I-40, and the southern leg of the loop is 240. A few years ago, this area here opened up, and it's I-69 that comes in. It's going to connect Canada from the north to Mexico in the south. It's going to come through Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, come up through here, Louisiana. It's going to come through here, and it's eventually going to connect all down in here. We only have this leg of I-69 completed right now. That goes over almost into Tunica, and you may have heard of Tunica for the casinos that are there. But we have the rest of this loop that once it hits I-55, it becomes 269, and it is a new second loop around Memphis and around Shelby County and North Mississippi. It connects I-55 running up through here, connects I-55 to I-40 without having to go through Memphis. And it goes all the way over and dead ends here at Highway 51. And 51 also comes up out of Mississippi and comes through. It was the highway before the interstate was put in, and it continues and goes up into Kentucky. So those are the major interstates that we have running through here. Another one that's an important interstate, it's not one of the major interstates, and this is Highway 78, also known as Lamar, inside the city limits. And it has a designation of the Interstate 22, and it connects Memphis to Birmingham. And so people will travel this if they're heading to Atlanta. They'll either go up into I-40 into Nashville and down, or they'll head out Memphis, south of Memphis, going toward Birmingham, and then connect to I-20 to take them over to Atlanta. Just depends on how they want to travel. But we have these interstate systems here that can help you get around and move around. And depending on where you live, if you live in the suburbs, then you're going to be traveling 269 if you live way out. And it has actually opened up Rossville, Oakland, Somerville, even Whiteville, Covington, Stanton, Brownsville. It's opened these up a little bit more because with 269, if you live in North Mississippi, but you work out maybe the big blue oval that Ford is putting in up here around Brownsville, then it's a whole lot faster for you to jump on 269 to hit 40 to get to work. Instead of having to go all the way through Memphis and getting caught in the traffic jams that happen on I-40 and 240 where they intersect in this area out here. We call that the flyover, and it tends to back up in heavy traffic, especially during the commute times. So you'll want to be aware of this intersection right here where I-240 goes east onto 40, or if you're coming into the Memphis area heading back home from work, then you're going to have a bottleneck for people who are headed west, and you're going to get a bottleneck for people who are headed east. Just be aware that you're going to have some traffic tie-ups in this area, and you're also going to have, I didn't mention it when we were zoomed out a little bit, we have an area that connects 240 to 269, and that's 385. It's not a federal highway or anything, but it connects, and there's going to be a bottleneck in here and in the first few of these exits that come off of 385. Those are going to be some areas that are some bottlenecks. So if you're thinking about living in Memphis, you do need to know your way around town. You also need to have a conversation with somebody like me who can help guide you to the best place for you based on what you're looking for where you buy a home, whether that's actually in Memphis or one of the suburbs. And if it is, which one, where in Memphis, which suburb do you want to get that home in? I help folks all the time make great decisions on where they want to live in Memphis. So whether you're making a move in 9 days or 9 months, let's have a conversation so that you can be confident on where you choose to buy your house living in Memphis. So how long is it going to take us to get somewhere in Memphis? Let's just say the Memphis International Airport. How long will it take us to get from the airport? Let's say that you want to live in Lakeland and you got to fly out of the Memphis airport. How long is it going to take us to get from Lakeland to the Memphis airport? Lakeland to Memphis is anywhere from 26 to 35 minutes, depending on the route that you go. If you jump down here and don't stay on the interstate system, you want to avoid this intersection, it's going to take you about 35 minutes. And that's currently at this time. And at the time I'm recording it, it's not a heavy traffic time. It's probably going to take you a little bit longer depending on the time of day to get from Lakeland to Memphis, or to the Memphis airport. Let's say you want to go to, if you live in Lakeland and you want to go to the AutoZone Park for a Memphis Redbirds game or FC 901 soccer football game. It's going to take you, again, 25 to 32 minutes. Come the interstate, go 40 north, come down 40, and come into downtown. What about the Memphis Zoo? Memphis Zoo, 22 minutes if you're coming from Lakeland. If you live in the southern part of the area, let's say that you live in Collierville. How long is it going to take us to get to the Memphis Zoo from Collierville? 30 minutes from Collierville, anywhere from 30 to 35 minutes to get to the Memphis Zoo. AutoZone Park, you can add 3 or 4 more minutes to it. If you're going to Bill Street downtown, you can add a couple more minutes to that. So you're, 40 minutes to Bill Street, less than 40 minutes to AutoZone Park, the FedEx Forum. If you are going to a Memphis University of Tigers football game, you're going to be going to the stadium. It's over here near the zoo. So you're still looking at 30 to 35 minutes coming from Collierville. Kind of gives you an idea of some distances of how long it's going to take you to get around in Memphis. You're going to want to avoid the bottlenecks that happen at 385 and 240, I-40 and 240 where they intersect. There are also going to be some bottlenecks on the western side of 40 as it comes and goes over into Arkansas across the I-40 bridge. There's going to be some traffic intersection issues here at I-55 and 240 where they connect. You're going to experience some traffic backups on 385. You're going to have a little bit right in here at 240, or actually on 40, until it gets out a little distance and traffic kind of minimizes and they all kind of get spread out a little bit. You're going to have traffic bottlenecks back here on 78. They did just widen Highway 78, but there's traffic issues at Shelby Drive and Lamar or 78. Also at Holmes Road, there could be a little bit of a backup, although they have just changed that to where Holmes Route goes over Highway 78 instead of having to come to an intersection. It was not a great intersection, and they've changed all of that. Just to kind of give you an idea of where your major traffic issues are going to be. You're also going to begin to experience some issues on I-240 where it crosses Poplar and Walnut Grove. That's going to be some areas where you see some bottlenecks. I try to avoid these areas after about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon till about 6:30. I try to avoid this just because I live down south in Olive Branch, Mississippi. And if I can avoid what times I go out here, I do that. But just gives you an idea of where you're going to experience some bottlenecks. All right, let's talk about the schools that we have in Memphis. We're not going to look at all the different schools here because there are a lot of schools here in Memphis. The private schools, the public schools. Let's just do a little search here for schools and see what pops up. Hey, on the map now I'm showing you a few of the schools in Memphis. These are the Shelby County high schools that are in the Memphis area. You can see they're scattered all around, heavy in the outer areas, but they're scattered all throughout here. Memphis also has some great private schools. I'll show you a couple of them here. Memphis University School is a boys' school. It is at Park and Kirby. We also have Briarcrest. Briarcrest is out here. It's not actually in Memphis, but it's where I graduated from. The campus wasn't located here when I graduated from it, but Briarcrest is there. Hutchison is a girls' school that's out here near MUS. There are a variety of other great private school options if public school is not an option for you. Check out greatschools.org so you can find the school that you're most interested in when you're talking about moving to Memphis and you're looking for a school for your kids to go to. We also do have several colleges, higher education schools here. Of course, the University of Memphis. There are some technical campuses, some VOTEC campuses here. Pretty much whatever you're looking for education-wise, you're going to be able to find it in the Memphis area. So let's talk about shopping. So you know where you're going to want to go when you're looking for something in the Memphis area. This number 72 right here, this is Poplar. And Poplar is, it connects downtown Memphis to Germantown and Collierville, and it continues going east. There is a lot of shopping along this Collierville corridor. There's also going to be a lot of shopping when you get into downtown, Union Avenue, when you get out to Wolf Chase Galleria. I need to move this a little bit so we can see it. Wolf Chase Galleria, a lot of shopping here. This is Germantown Road, a lot of shopping up and down Germantown Road. You're also going to experience shopping along Summer Avenue. Summer Avenue comes from the Memphis Zoo and continues going north out of here. It's also 79 that you can see. There's a lot of shopping in this area. You're going to experience some shopping along 240 at Sycamore View, going out here 64. I mentioned Wolf Chase Galleria, Highway 64. You're also going to see a lot of shopping and stuff out in there. Many times folks will also travel down into North Mississippi to go shopping at Tanger Outlet Malls. And Tanger Outlet Mall is down here at I-55 and Church Road. So there's a lot of shopping in this area. It's going to be a lot of shopping on Goodman Road. There's going to be a lot of shopping on Getwell. So whether you are in Memphis or you travel outside of Memphis and then to do your shopping, you have access to some great shopping places along these corridors. Suburbs. Let's talk about where you want to live in the Memphis area. As I showed you earlier in the video, all of this area that's not green, that's in this white or this gray, is not Memphis. It's also some other cities and some other places to live. But I showed you the outline of Memphis. So if you don't want to live in Memphis, what are some options for where you could live? Germantown is one of those suburbs that people like to live in. Collierville still has kind of this small town feel with the opening of 269. Piperton and Rossville are beginning to become more popular. Also, Oakland, we're seeing development happening out in Somerville. Arlington has begun to grow, as Lakeland has as well. Bartlett is one of the older suburbs in the Memphis area, as well as it's not listed here on the map. Raleigh and Millington is where the Naval Air Station is. Let's show that on the map. You have Millington up here to the north. You also have, I've had people inquire about living in Mason. And I mentioned too this the blue oval that that Ford is putting in, this blue oval plant. It's happening up here in the Brownsville area. Let's see if we can pop it up on the map. Blue Oval in Stanton, Tennessee. So Blue Oval City is a new complex that Ford is putting in with huge development that's going to be happening. Lots of residential, some commercial, and retail that's going to be going in out here because of development that's happening out here. A lot of other the affiliated businesses that go along with the car builders that are going to be out here in this area. So it is making Brownsville become attractive, Covington, Somerville, Whiteville, for people who don't want to live inside Memphis but want the abilities of that and work here at the Blue Oval or one of the support company businesses that are around here. It's going to open up a lot more of West Tennessee outside of the Memphis area for people to live in. So just kind of give you an option of what's going on there for you to be able to see as you hear developments where growth is happening in the Memphis area. So I've mentioned some of those suburbs. There will be videos on each one of those coming out, on most of those anyway. You also have, if you move into Mississippi, have South Haven, Olive Branch, Hernando, Walls. Those are the cities or people that are moving out to an area here called Mount Pleasant, and Sladen, Red Banks, Mississippi, Holly Springs. Needs to see some development. It's not a very attractive area other than price. You're going to get a good price on either a really old home that needs some updating, or you're going to have some space. But Holly Springs is not an area that a lot of people want to move into because of all the amenities and the schools and the infrastructure and stuff that they have. But it is an option if you're looking for a good price and some property. You can also look in Ashland. I've shown properties out in there. If you go further south in Mississippi, you can get into Coldwater and Senatobia. We're seeing this area along Highway 4 develop a little bit because they can easily jump up and get on 269. It opens up this area down here so they can get back into Memphis, or if they work out in the Poplar corridor where a lot of office buildings are, or downtown Memphis where a lot of buildings are, they're able to get there easier. So this whole area, this region, is opening up to more housing, and we're seeing those developments happen. So that gives you an idea of Memphis on the map, where you might want to go for schools, for shopping, a different city that you might want to live in, or one of the suburbs of Memphis if you don't want to live in Memphis itself. Again, if you're looking to make a move, whether it's in 90 days or 9 days, I'm able to help you out. The network of agents that I have, we can help you make a confident decision on where you live when you're living in Memphis. Have a blessed day.